right now the United States is being kicked out and evicted from the Middle East. We're not saying that they're not putting bombing Iran and everything else. They have air superiority and they're bombing, but they're not able to intercept Iranian missiles. And Iranian missiles are hitting bases in America. As of March 5, 2026, okay, nearly all major U.S. air and naval hubs in the region have been targeted, and most have sustained verified impacts. Okay. While the U.S. military has successfully intercepted thousands of incoming threats, the saturation strategy by Iran is working. They're saturated, and a lot of their super, what you call it, they go fast. What they call it, sonic missiles, supersonic
Hypersonic,
missiles,
hypersonic.
hypersonic are not being hit, and these million, you're getting $3 million interceptors that are missing. I think one is 500,000. One time there was 10 of them shot at one and they lost. That's a loss of about $3 million. Let's look at the list of the places that have been hit. Okay, the NSA Bahrain, Fifth Fleet headquarters, Bahrain, hit verified strikes on the edge of the base and near residential blocks. Ali Al Salam Air Base, Kuwait, hit. Fatalities confirmed. Drone strikes penetrated defense, hitting a tactical ops center. Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar,
Qatar.
targeted. Yeah, significant damage to a long range. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on top of that, the list goes on. On top of that, they've been hitting Dubai, hitting hotels and things. So what it shows is that, and they're draining America's interceptors. Their interceptors are almost done, and once those are done, Iran is going to be hitting more targets. And if they saturate, they're going to be hitting more and more. So what Iran has done is use their low-grade weapons to get rid of all the interceptors, and now they have free range. So when you're hitting American bases consistently, and they're not going to stop, they're going to continue doing this for years. If America tries to come back and rebuild these bases, they're going to continually be destroyed, and they're going to continue to be putting pressure on the emirate countries. They could even target their leaders if they want to. So what they're going to do is create such a hostile environment that it's going to lead to an ultimate stalemate in which the U.S. and the Gulf nations and Saudi Arabia and maybe Israel will sit on the sideline because Israel wants World War III, are going to sit down and work on a security agreement. And the most likely outcome of all of this is that the U.S.'s presence in the Middle East is going to be greatly diminished. They're not going to be totally evicted. They're going to stay offshore, keep ships offshore, and have a few strategic bases in the Middle East. But the agreement will be between them. And here's what I'm predicting is that Iran said you can keep some of the bases, but only a few. And Iran, through its will be mobilized because it has a mobilized guerrilla warfare style of missiles that can come that's not centralized. They will be ready. And if the U.S. ever tries to start rebuilding again, they'll just strike. So what you will see is basically an agreement, which is will be enforced by Iran because Iran will be ready. An agreement that all sides stand down and the U.S.'s presence there will be diminished. And therefore, as I always argue, Iran will become the major hegemon in the Middle East, stronger than Israel. And they will have Hezbollah, they'll have Syria, they'll have Lebanon rebuilding. So that what will happen is that they're not strong enough to beat America, they're not strong enough to beat Israel, but neither is America or Israel strong enough to beat them unless they use a tactical nuke. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, the way it is even now, it will be difficult to get Iran to make concessions. I mean, because the way the Iranian are handling this thing is strategic and is very effective. This war of attrition is meant to exhaust and deplete the U.S. Arsenal, and they are doing it very effectively. You mentioned a couple of things, particularly the $1.1 billion early warning radar in Qatar. The third missile defense radar, $500 million. I mean, these are high value systems destroyed. They've lost
Yeah.
about $1.9 billion in military hardware within the first few days. So they are depleting the US effectiveness in this kind of war because this is like a guerrilla type warfare. And then the countries that are hosting the US bases are now thinking twice whether they should continue doing that because they are being targeted. So this is even making it more difficult for the US to host their bases
Yeah.
in this country. So
Yeah.
the Bahrain, Qatar, the Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, all of them, because of these air bases that have been targeted, they're thinking twice about hosting this US facilities. So it's just shifting and tilting towards the Iranian attrition war. It's like a
Yeah.
Vietnam type
Yeah.
assault strategy, basically.
Yeah. Iran knows every inch of every American base there, and it's static. So if America's going to keep planes there and weaponry there, they're just those things are just going to be hit and destroyed. So they're going to have to move their assets off sea. They're in debt. So what America to save face, what they'll have to do is say, we accomplished our mission. We killed Khomeini, and who is in Iran now is okay. And they're going to have to drop back. And of course, it's going to become like North Korea, South Korea. There's going to be a demilitarized zone, and both sides will be there, and they have to be on guard for hundreds and hundreds of years. Because if Iran ever drops its if Iran ever drops its vigilance, or it ever has an uprising, the U.S. will start again. So what it'll be is it'll be a testy Cold War sort of stalemate, which is how Iran wins, because Iran will be the hegemon on the soil of the Middle East. And these other Gulf nations, it can take all of them out if it wants to, because they're just American puppets who have no weaponry. All that weaponry is American weaponry and is going to be taken out, or most of it. So Iran is going to become the hegemon. And fortunately for those nations, Iran will be the type of hegemon I predict that's not looking to, a hegemon doesn't necessarily mean overpower your opponents. It means you're
Yeah.
the strongest in your region and nobody would challenge you. So you can be a benevolent hegemon. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't have any reason to believe Iran wants to become imperial. If they want to become imperial, they definitely will
No,
lose,
not at
because
all.
no, they can't do that. Their military is meant for defense. It's not meant for offense. It's meant for defense,
I,
plain and
I,
simple.
I
Uh,
think if, yeah, go ahead.
the biggest loser in all of this will be Israel, because Israel will no longer be the bully in the block. And if they're not careful, Iran and the rest of them will blockade them. I pray that they don't. Just let it be. Don't get revenge on Israel. Just let it be and tell them, okay, sit down there, small boy. You can't do shit anymore. That's the only revenge you need to get on them. What were you going to say, Afolabi?
Yeah, what I wanted to say was if the Iran becomes a hegemon in the Middle East, they're just going to bring some kind of equilibrium and
Yeah,
balance. Not that
yeah,
they're becoming a dominating force like US and
yeah.
Israel. No, they're just going to bring some semblance of balance and equilibrium to that place so that all the power brokers can then sit down, and be at peace with each other, not trying to be imperial, uh,
Yeah.
dominating others, to their own interest and to the expense of other people. So
And they're paying a high
yeah,
price because right now the U.S. is bombing civilian sites in Iran. See, most of all of Iran's missiles are under the ground. Then America can't destroy them because they're under the ground, and they have tunnels. But so what U.S. is doing is just attacking, bombing schools, things like that, bombing police stations. So let's not be under the illusion that even though Iran may win this war, they're losing the war in terms of how much it's cost them in human life. It's cost them more lives than it's cost America and Israel. But that's the price you have to pay to
for
liberate your people
freedom.
from imperial.
It's the
Yeah,
price
for
for
freedom.
freedom.
Freedom comes with, and that's why they'll win, because Israel's freedom is not at stake. America's freedom is not at stake. If this was America's freedom at stake, you would never be able to beat them. You get what I'm saying? What it is America's doing a war of aggression, and when you're doing a war of aggression, you have less motivation to win than the person that you're aggressing. Their back is at the wall, which is why Russia is also beating Ukraine. They'll say it's the other way around, but no, Ukraine decided to be a weapon for NATO against Russia. That's why their asses is getting hurt right now. So people are dying, and even as Iran is striking Israel, they're not killing people; they're destroying infrastructure. So kudos to Iran, kudos to the world, kudos to our show. We're about to get out of here. I think last thoughts are for like this is becoming fun. I can't even be cracking jokes anymore. It's so serious and technical. Go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, this Vietnam type assault by Iran, I mean, it's depleting their budget. It's forcing the US to use $1 million missiles to intercept dollar drones, basically $1,000 drones. And by damaging expensive naval assets, Iran will just make the financial cost of war, intolerable for the
Yeah.
US because US has a low tolerance for a long, dragged out war. We
No.
can see examples in Vietnam. So internally, there will be pressure for the US to stop this. And that's where I think Iran is really winning. Attrition,
Yeah.
just not lose. Just continue and
This
not.
war was a blessing in disguise for Iran because it forced them to become the hegemon.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
force them to become the hegemon.
All right. So we're done with free practice one. We'll be back for pre practice two tomorrow. I'll follow me. Take us out, man.
Okay, it's been another brilliant political show. It's still ongoing. Iran is standing firm. US continues to be deluded and tell lies to the whole world. And from Mustafa and myself, we'll be back again. Bye for now.
All right, so I'll follow me.